Hi, my name is Michelle Fitzgerald with the Senzar Learning Center, and today we're going to talk a little bit about cell phones. People have a lot of health concerns about cell phones these days, and probably the biggest concern is the electromagnetic radiation from cell phones. And you probably should be concerned about that and do a little research on that and take steps to mitigate that and damp down the negative impacts of cell phone usage in your life and on your health. But today we're going to talk about a different invisible aspect of cell phones. The radiation, the EMF, the electromagnetic radiations are invisible. But there's another invisible problem that can be equally impacting on health and general comfort and well-being. And that is literally a type of haunting or possession of the phone, of your cell phone, by what are called discarnates, or disembodied spirits that are on and occupy a type of energetic network that surrounds us all. When something dies, when a human being dies, or a blade of grass ends its life, a chipmunk, a copy machine, whatever, everything's got a spirit essence to it. When something dies, it steps out of form and it seeks something called a spirit track. A spirit track, they're all over the planet. They're just, everywhere. You may even have one not too far away from your property. There are many of these things around the planet, and they look like, to the spirits, if you were in the spirit realm, they look like a bright light to the spirits. I think one of the reasons that people who have near-death experiences, I think when they make it back and they say that so many of them report that they see this bright light, I think what they're actually seeing are spirit tracks. And what these spirit tracks are, they're type of dimensional jump points of sorts where the spirits make their transition. The challenge with cell phones is that cell phones and these high-frequency electromagnetic radiations that they have can damage the energetic matrix of the phone. Every form has an energetic matrix behind it. And when the energetic matrix of the form gets damaged, it creates something that's kind of like a pothole in this big space-time network that surrounds us all. And so the spirits are out there, they're stepping out of form, they're trying to make their way to a spirit track. An analogy is it's like being on a highway and they come in contact with a pothole. They hit a pothole on the road. The other thing that happens with cell phones is when the energetic matrix of the phone is damaged, and this happens very frequently, especially with phones that are used very heavily. Very often they will end up with, I call it spirit unit damage, meaning the deepest energetic matrix of the object has actually become damaged. When that happens, it's almost like the energetics of the object is bleeding light. It's a very bright light. Again, if you were like in the spirit realm, if you were in the subtle energy realm and you could see this, it would appear to you as a very bright light. And that bright light from the energetics of the object kind of bleeding is distracting to the spirits. They think if the light is bright enough, they think it is the light that they're trying to get to. And it's like a detour on a highway. They get diverted. So you've got two problems going on. One, they're traveling down the highway, they hit a pothole, they get stuck. Two, they're traveling down the highway, they see a bright light on the side of the road, they veer off and get transfixed by the bright light. And either way, they're not making it to where they want to go. And the pothole is, the stopping point is the little cell phone and the brightness or the pothole effect of the cell phone. So why do you need to be concerned about this? Well, you need to be concerned about it because it can create very measurable physical effects on the human system. It can create things like headaches, fuzzy brain. It can make you distracted, where you can't stay focused easily. It can heat you up, where you get temperature fluctuations. You think you're coming down with a fever or something like that. It can cause rashes, temporary rashes, reddening of the skin. I've seen all these effects with myself and with clients clients when exposed to electronic equipment, most frequently to cell phones that have spirit problems like this, where they're literally haunted by not in the traditional sense, but they literally have sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands of disembodied spirits attached to the darn phone or saturated into the darn phone. So what do you do about this? We don't want to have headaches or the other common symptom, by the way, is fatigue. That's another very common symptom. Now, I will tell you at this point that all the symptoms that I just described are also common to people who have electromagnetic hypersensitivity, people who are sensitive to the radio frequency emissions from cell phones and other electromagnetic situations, systems, devices, that type of thing. All the symptoms that I just described can show up as a response, a body response to those energetic dynamics as well. But I've had truly hundreds of cases that I've handled, and my own experiences personally, where the problem with the headache or the skin heating up or the fuzzy brain that so many electro-hypersensitivity people report, that the actual problem I have found in many cases is this psychic spirit thing. It's not always the electromagnetics. It's just as easily, just as often, I find that it's the actual psychic spirit stuff that's causing the problem. You clear that out of the way, the headache goes away, the temperature stabilizes, all that type of thing. So you need to know about both things, and you need to treat both things. But what do you do about this psychic spirit thing? It's easy enough to turn off your cell phone and stop the electromagnetic radiations, but what do you do about a cesspool of spirits attached to your phone? You clean the phone. You energetically clean the phone, and it simply is not that difficult. A few quick remedies. One would be salt, age-old remedy for literally trapping spirits. You get a little container, you pour a little salt in there, you take your cell phone, you set it on the salt, and you let it just rest there for a few hours, ideally overnight. What will happen is you'll trap the spirits that are caught in the phone. They'll be absorbed right into the salts. And then you're going to do a little blessing. I would recommend you start by lighting a candle, maybe a white candle, ideally a white and a blue candle. This will help keep the spirits away from you. Again, it's another form of distraction. You don't want them moving from the salt into your own energy field. So you light a couple candles and you just hold a focused intention, bring some love up into your heart, and say, please bless these spirits and send them into the light or to the most appropriate place for them at this time. The light, meaning the light they were headed for in the first place that your darn cell phone distracted them from. So we're trying to just help them get to where they were intending to get to in the first place. So bless these spirits, please send them into the light or to the most appropriate place for them at this time. It's not going to work every single time clearing 100% of the spirits that get trapped in your phone, but it should work well enough to clear up the situation, heal up the phone, and get most of those spirits on their way. And the few stragglers will hopefully just disconnect automatically from the phone. Another thing you can use is coffee. Coffee is a really great remedy. You simply put a little bit of, you can use any type of coffee. It can be just inexpensive coffee. Doesn't seem to matter whether it's been chemically treated or if it's, super organic or anything like that. It can just be anything as long as it's fresh, meaning it can't be coffee that you've already used, that you've already brewed or used in your French press or whatever. So just get coffee grounds or coffee beans, and you just put them in a similar type of container like this. Take your cell phone, set the cell phone on the coffee, leave it there overnight. The coffee acts a little bit differently than the salt. It's going to do a transformative type of thing to the energies that are involved and kind of free the spirits up and transform any of the other, I'll call them toxic psychic energies that are involved, transform those so everybody can get back to normal. It'll help heal the kind of space-time wound in the phone. Coffee is very, very powerful, and everything goes on its way. Now, coffee has, and salt too, but coffee especially has a very high consciousness level to it. Everything is intelligent, including coffee and salt, and alive and intelligent. I'm always very, very respectful of any of the substances I use to do these treatments that I'm describing to you. With coffee, I'm especially careful to demonstrate a lot of respect, bring a lot of gratitude up in my heart when coffee helps me out. I always ask permission of the spirit of the coffee before I go about the business of doing treatments like this. Are you willing to help me? And I either douse to get a yes/no response, or I wait to feel like a little heart tug in my heart often will occur, and I know I have the permission of the coffee and the cooperation of the coffee to proceed. You'll get much better effects with the coffee if you do this, if you establish a little bit of a relationship. So will you help me out? Yes, I'll go ahead and do the treatment. When I'm done with the treatment, I will always thank the coffee or thank the salt or whatever substance that I might be using. There are many substances that you can use. Sometimes I use rosemary is called for. I'll clip fresh rosemary from my backyard. Sometimes I use cloves, like whole cloves or powdered cloves to rest the phone on. Sometimes essential oils. I'll always ask whatever I'm using permission to proceed. And at the end, I'll always thank the substance, thank the spirit of the substance for helping me out. With coffee, I thank the coffee, and then I dispose the coffee outside respectfully in my garden or in someplace in my yard, and return the coffee to nature where it began. Salt, I usually just put down the drain, and the salt seems to be fine with that. So either way you want to handle it. But with coffee, especially take care with coffee, and you'll get much better results with it. Another one that can be very effective is sage. Many of you have probably used sage bundles before just to smudge your space. It's great for clearing out, spirits on the loose in a space. Great for clearing up minor negative thought forms that can get stuck in a space. But you just light your little sage on fire and blow it out, get it smoky, and you're going to just smudge your phone like this. Do a good thorough smudging, holding the intention to please bless the spirits that have been trapped here, send them into the light, to the most appropriate place for them at this time. Bring them whatever they need to make their journey successful and smooth and harmonious. And you can say whatever you want, but you get the drift. Is you just do a basic, simple blessing that they get to the best place for them to be at this time. And you finish like that. So salt, coffee, sage, those are three very, very effective and common clearing agents for situations like this. How do you know which one to use? You can douse it. If you don't know how to douse, go onto my website and take a free dowsing lesson, sedonaportal.com. Or you can just do all these treatments periodically to the phone to cover all your bases. That would be a handy way to handle it. I had a student the other day email me and say, well, what are salt and coffee equally more powerful? And my response is that it's not really a question of power. It's a question of what's most appropriate, the frequency mix kind of, what's most appropriate for what's actually caught in the messy situation that needs to be cleared up. Depending on what's caught there will drive really what the most appropriate healing remedy actually is. So, but very common fixes that are effective 90% plus of the time would be coffee, salt, and sage. So maybe rotate those, and you'll surely be able to keep a clean phone. So I hope you enjoyed that little training session today. If you did, and you're not already a subscriber to my YouTube channel, subscribe. I produce little educational videos like this on metaphysical topics pretty regularly, and you'll learn a lot. So again, I hope you enjoyed it and got a little bit of enlightenment today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.